So lately I've been getting a lot of emails from people questioning their electric bills, and they're starting to wonder why they seem to be getting so high. Now, while there could be a couple of reasons for this that aren't related to actual usage, such as the rating being increased or your meter possibly being faulty, chances are that's a little more unlikely on the meter end of things. It's more likely that it's something that you utilize and that you don't realize. The little incremental things you've added to the home, such as EV charging, heat pumps, more things using electricity, possibly doing more laundry, those things can really add up. So today we're heading to meet a homeowner to try and help him diagnose just exactly why his bill seems so high. All right, Rob, so I saw that you wrote in about concerns of your electric bill.
Yeah, in the winter we're seeing a drastic spike, almost double what we're seeing in the summer.
Double over what you see in the summer, okay. I mean, the place looks great. I mean, how old's the house?
The main portion of the house is 1875, so we're coming up on 150 years.
Wow, and I'm assuming you renovated the kitchen recently from the looks of it? Looks
we've done a lot of cosmetic updates, added a mini split for some AC and heat,
okay.
Some appliances.
What else do you have for heating and cooling?
We have oil furnace
that
heats the main part of the house, as well as our second floor tenant.
That was my next question. I saw that when we were walking in, I saw a couple of meters, so you have tenants.
Yep, 2 tenants, second floor shares heat with us.
Okay, I only saw 2 meters, so...
Third floor has their own meter.
Okay, so third floor is their own meter, so your meter does yourself and a tenant above as well.
Yep.
And it looks like everything else is electric in the house. Electric cooking, electric dryers.
Yeah, electric water heater and well pump.
And a well pump, okay.
Yep.
That well pump is feeding everybody?
Correct, yep.
Okay, so we do have a lot of a load here. But what I'd like to do is take a look in the basement and see what we have for panels. Do you mind showing me?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. All right, so that's the service for everything?
That's the panel, yep.
Okay. So it looks like we have the 2 meters outside. We have, looks like the main one, the 200 is coming in right to you that feeds this.
Yep.
And this feeds your second floor as well?
Correct.
For that tenant. And then the separate meter is for the third floor only.
Yep.
So they should be all by themselves. So you had some questions about the panel?
Yeah. My concern was the age of the panel, and maybe that was causing some of the issues.
The panel is definitely older, looks a little rusty, but it's probably not in that bad a shape, and chances are that's not going to cause the issue you're seeing, unless we had a major malfunction inside, which would be showing much more damage. So I don't think that's it. But if I take a look inside, I mean, I think you have a lot more going on here than you may have thought.
Yeah.
You know, it looks like we have multiple electric ovens, multiple dryers. I'm looking at a shop sub panel. Does that make sense?
Yep, the garage has its own panel that is fed from here.
Okay. And then we have, we've got one that's a 2-pole 100. That's a kitchen panel too.
Yep, that feeds the kitchen, the appliances.
Okay. Well, this might make sense, but I want to know why it's so different. Why is it so low in the summer and so much higher in the winter? So let's go outside and take a look at the meter. You actually have analog meters. I noticed when we were walking in.
Yeah, I do.
We can physically see how fast they spin. So we'll go see what it's doing right now, and then we'll try turning a few things off and see that it slows down, make sure it looks like it's operating properly, and then we'll go from there.
That works for me.
All right. All right, so these are the 2 meters. So this one's moving pretty quickly. I'm gonna guess this one's for you from the looks of everything. And it looks like your upstairs tenant is barely moving. I'm guessing they're not home?
Yeah, they're not home.
So there's not much being used. So you can see the difference. It's nice that we have the analog meters where we can actually physically see the dial spin and see what our real-time usage is. So I think what I want to do is I want to go downstairs, turn some of the bigger items off, see if we can make this slow down a little bit, and take a look and see if that actually works.
That works.
All right. All right, Rob, so you saw how fast that meter was spinning. It's moving pretty good. So I think the biggest one's going to be probably this kitchen panel. I think we have a lot on there. It's a pretty big feed. So let's start by, let's turn that off. Let's go take a look outside and make sure that's slowed down a little bit.
Awesome.
Check that out, Rob. Look how much slower that's going now.
Oh yeah, it's a lot slower.
And that's just by turning off that kitchen panel. So that tells us that that panel was using quite a bit of power that we maybe didn't even realize. So the last thing I'd like to try is I want to turn the main breaker off to this, make sure this comes to a complete stop, and then we can kind of proceed from there. Let's go take a look. All right, so turning the main off did bring that to a stop, and your neighbor is still spinning just a little bit. So, you know, looking at it quickly, it seems like everything's separated and operating as it should be.
So do you have any recommendations on getting to the bottom of this, or?
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is I actually have an energy monitor that I can install, and we can kind of see what might be being used that we're unaware of.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be great.
All right, let me run to the truck and I'll grab that and I'll meet you inside.
All right.
All right, so before we went ahead and installed all this, I kind of wanted to show you the components of what goes into this and see if you have any questions on anything. So the first piece that's going to go in is the brain here, and this is the piece that's going to go in where everything's going to plug into. This is the actual monitor itself that'll go in the panel and everything will connect to it. Next, we're going to power it, and one of the things you have to consider when we're doing this is what do you power it with and how. It's nice in your case, we have physical space. We want to have a 2-pole 15 amp breaker to power this, one on each leg, and that's perfect. You have that open spot. If you didn't, you'd have to share with another circuit or take something else off to make this work. The next thing is we got to consider connection to the network. So we're going to be using Wi-Fi to this, so we're going to be using this antenna plugged into the system and sticking out of the bottom of the panel. So I guess the question is, how's the Wi-Fi in that section of the house? Any idea?
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. We just had it upgraded, so we have strong signal over there.
Perfect. So that's the hardest part, is having that for the backbone. Now that we have it powered and we have a connection to the network, we want to look at actually monitoring the power. So we're going to start with the main CTs, the current transformers that go around the main 2 feed wires that come from outside and go either to the main lugs or the main breaker. In your case, they go to the main breaker. So we're going to have 2 of these, one for each wire. It's going to go just simply around it, click into place, and you want to make sure that's clipped in, and you want to pay attention to the direction. We'll do that twice for the 2 mains, plugs in as well. That's going to monitor how much power is being utilized by the house as a whole. We can actually use that to monitor the kilowatt hours overall and see if that matches your bill. That'll tell us if the meter's truly accurate, if everything's matching, and if at least that part adds up. With that though, we want to find out what's causing the problem in the winter, and that's where the smaller CTs come in. So we can plug into 16 of those on the front of this unit, and that we can put on individual branch circuits or on something like dryers, the panels, that kind of thing. So once we have these isolated, we have the circuits that you want to monitor. We're going to make a list of those circuits, and then we're going to use this app to go ahead and get this fired up. And as you can see, the field is empty right now, but once it's connected and it's powered up, you're going to start to see this graph fill out and see the actual data of power being used. We might find out that, hey, at nighttime, for some reason, this kitchen panel's really, it's using way more than we ever thought it was. Let's go find out why. We can start turning off individual breakers, or if you want, you can add a second one of these on that panel as well. So if 16 is not quite enough for you to monitor, we can always add another 16 with another unit to this.
Sounds good to me.
So I think the next step is to jump down to the basement and get it installed.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So now that the power's been disconnected outside, I'm going to go ahead and take the panel cover off. Next, I'm going to verify that the power is really off by using my multimeter. All right, so I'm going to set the monitor in place, and the first thing I'm going to do is put the antenna on, and then I'll put the main CTs on to close this side out. So next, I'm going to install the 2 main current transformers around the main wires that go into the breakers, and I want to pay attention to which way they go. I want them arrow facing the breaker like this on both of them so they read properly. And finally, we'll install the 16 small current transformers on the circuits we want to monitor. All right, Rob, so power's back on, everything's cleaned up. I put all my tools away. It should be up and running. You all connected to the app?
Yeah, everything looks good.
Perfect. So we're gonna let this run for a little while, probably come back in about 2 months to check in on you and see what we have. I'll be honest, we'll probably be in touch before that, make sure we answer any questions, make any adjustments we need to make.
All right.
But other than that, I think you're pretty good. So I'll plan on swinging back in about 2 months and hopefully we can find the issue.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So it's been about 2 months since we installed the energy monitor at Rob's house. Now, we've been in constant contact with him this whole time, and he says he's getting some great real-time data. So today we're on our way back to the house to take a look and see if we can find what the culprit is that's causing that bill to be so high. Hey, how's it going?
Good, welcome back.
Rob, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, you as well.
So I gotta ask, have you been checking out the app and keeping an eye on things?
Yeah, the thing's pretty awesome to be able to see everything that's going on.
It's really crazy how well detailed that is, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of addictive to sit there and keep watching.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
So let's just take a seat and go over some of the things we found out.
All right.
All right, Rob, so while we pull this open and get up to see what's going on live, did you find that looking at the monitor and matching it to your electric bill, did it seem to add up?
Yeah, lined up pretty well. I mean, they looked pretty identical.
Unfortunately, it's not what you want to hear, but that really is what you're probably using.
Yeah, answered some questions, but...
All right. So here's our energy monitor in use, and we can see this is real time, and we're monitoring second by second, and you know it's operating properly because we're seeing this number change constantly as things turn on and off and cycle. The nice feature about this system is we can actually go back and look at things with a week, month, or even a year previously. So if we go back for the month, we can see how much power has been utilized this month, And nice good news is that we can see the tenants really haven't used much at all, so that's a good thing. I wonder if they're even home too much. But we did find kind of 3 major culprits of what's using the most electricity in the home. The first is the mini split, and you can see we have shop panel 1 and shop panel 2. The mini split is on that shop panel. The reason I have it broken up into 2 is because I wanted to monitor each phase and make sure things are balanced and nothing else is turning on in there as well. Second is the well pump, same thing, that's on the kitchen panel, and we monitored those separately as well. And the third one is the water heater. And you can see how much that water heater uses by itself.
With those all being necessities, is there any place we could save some money?
I think there is. So we'll start with the heat pump. You know, I think the heat pump is kind of why we're seeing that spike in the winter that you were concerned about. So on a cold day where it's, you know, maybe 25, 30 degrees out and the heat pump's working, it's using a certain amount of electricity. But as it gets colder, it has to work harder, it's going to use more. And I think that's where we're seeing that spike, especially with the cold temperatures in the wintertime. Next will be the well pump. Again, you're paying for a well for 3 families in this house, but you don't have a water and sewer bill.
That's true.
So that might be a little bit of an offset as well. The last one with the water heater, I think, is a pretty easy solution. You have a purely electric water heater now. I think if you change it over to a hybrid heat pump water heater, I think it'll save you quite a bit right off the bat.
All right, yeah, I mean, I'll have to take a look into those.
But the bigger thing is, have you considered solar with everything you have that's electric in here?
Actually, I just reached out to get an estimate to have some solar panels put on my roof.
I think that would be a game changer for you. I think that would save you a ton of money, and you'd be able to see it in real time.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I don't think we had any surprises, but we do have a lot going on in this house, but at least you know exactly what's being used and why, and hopefully it'll help you save in the future.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.